Welcome back to another episode of Magic's in the Mess, the go-to podcast for ambitious women ready to stop pretending, start aligning, and finally build success your way. I'm your host, Danielle McKinley, speaker, business and wealth strategist, and your go-to problem-solving hype girl. Here, we'll help you unlock powerful mindset shifts, discover your magic, and bring your dream life into reality. Each week, I'll deliver raw stories, proven business strategies, and powerful transformations with industry leaders to activate the magic in you. So if you're ready to ditch the pressure, the performative BS, and the noise telling you who you should be, hit subscribe and let's make some magic. All right, friends, I am welcoming my friend Felicia Romero, a multi-passionate entrepreneur, investor, and mentor who has mastered the art of turning discipline into destiny. From dominating the fitness world to building multi-6 and 7-figure businesses, she's proof that success doesn't happen by accident. It's built through self-trust, strategy, and relentless belief in what's possible. She's been a fitness coach, a franchise partner, a real estate investor, and a mentor to high-achieving women who are ready to expand beyond what they thought was possible. But more than that, Felicia elevates every single person she encounters. This episode is for the woman who's ready to step into her next level, to stop second guessing her magic, and to own the version of herself she's been playing small around. Because when Felicia walks into a room, expansion follows. Help me welcome Felicia to the show.
Yay!
What's
oh my
up,
gosh,
girl?
I'm so excited. I literally can't stop smiling, and my jaws are starting to hurt because I'm smiling so big.
I love it. Every time I'm around you, I'm smiling because you truly are just such a light. You are such an encourager. You are such an expander.
Thank you.
And I am honored to be able to capture some of your magic today.
Yes.
So let's just go right in for the goods.
Okay.
Because you've done, and I've witnessed small ones, but I've heard your stories of big pivots. And I think that with the new year, it's 2026 and pivots are happening. People are in that season of like, let's make big stuff happen. Let's talk about pivots.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what they feel like, how you can notice when they're coming, and how you can best navigate them.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite subject to talk about because I'm a believer of not staying where you're at, especially if you aren't happy, you know, and I spent so many years out of alignment. And I don't want to really use the term wasting time because I feel like everything is happening for us. But, you know, there were so many times in my life where I could feel it in my body when I was out of alignment, but I would continue to show up only because I was so afraid for so long of what others would think of me. Like, she's a failure. Oh, she's giving up on that thing. And now at the age of 43, I think pivots can literally be so magical because it's only taking you to that next level step or that next expansion or that next thing that you're really meant to do. And so a lot of women that I talk to, especially when they're in the midst of change, they're so fearful because they're like, well, what are people going to think? Or oh, people only know me in this thing. How am I going to transition into that? And they'll maybe like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I'm a big believer in just diving all in. I'll give you an example of that. I was in fitness for so long. You know, I competed. I was a fitness coach, owned gyms, still do. But I think for a long time, I would coach people and mentor people in weight loss and fat loss. And I remember this happened back in like 2018, 2019, where it wasn't lighting me up. I dreaded the calls. I think that's first indication is if you don't even want to get on a call with someone to talk about macros, that is your first like indication. Like, I don't know if this is for me anymore. And I just got so tired of talking about macros and fat loss. And, you know, I knew that I had built a really successful business and I knew that coaches were asking me, well, how do you build an online business? And so I think naturally I started to gravitate into that. But the moment I did, I noticed an income dip. And I wasn't getting the validation online like I normally was doing when I was talking about food and weight loss and fat loss. And so, of course, I went back into what kept me safe. I was like, well, no one knows me in this space. Who am I? Yeah, I've built an incredible business online, but like, I'm just going to stick to what I know because I make money there. People know me there. And that's where my identity sits. Yeah. And so, that kept me small. That kept me, you know, in a place where I was so out of alignment. And what happens is you start to feel it in your body. You don't want to show up for calls. And if anything, you're doing a disservice, not only to yourself, but your client. So it took me about a year to finally make the jump. And that's one of many stories. But I feel like the first indication is when you don't feel it in your body anymore, the excitement.
So something that dropped in for me while you were talking about this is I'm thinking back because I've actually known you for
Yeah,
a long time. We
I
haven't been
know.
friends for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So I want to pull back the curtain to that
Hmm.
because of misconceptions that our inner voice gives us.
Yeah.
So you talked about, what will people think of me?
Hmm.
I'm only in this industry.
Hmm.
So I originally met Felicia when I was doing sales at Gold's Gym.
Yeah.
And she was big into fitness competitions and she was disciplined. Man, you were there sometimes twice a day
Hmm.
and always looking ripped and shredded and confident and happy. And so, not knowing you, but seeing you from afar, knowing you on a surface level, let's say,
Yeah.
I was always so impressed by you.
Thank
And
you.
so like wowed by your discipline.
Mhm.
And I could say, she probably doesn't have a worry in the world,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
and now knowing you and knowing some of the things you went through during that time,
Yeah.
there was a lot going on inside.
So much. Oh my goodness. I look back at, I think that was probably like 19 or 20-year-old Felicia. I'm 43 now. I was so unsure. I was so
Mm-hmm.
uncertain. I was so fearful. Actually, a lot of my decisions were ran off of fear. Versus now, so much of my decisions are around abundance and like opportunity and optimism. But, for me back then, when I think about that, Felicia, I was, I don't want to say I was lost because I was like very focused and disciplined and I, had a certain goal and I knew how to achieve it. And I think that's the athlete in me because I've always been an
Yeah.
athlete. But I think for me, I didn't know it at the time, but I used a lot of the fitness and the validation that I needed for like the on stage and the accolades and the winning. I needed that to feel good about myself. I
Mm-hmm.
needed that for self validation. And I didn't know it until later on. But a lot of it stemmed from childhood. My
Mm-hmm.
dad left when I was at a really young age. I actually spoke about it for the first time at Stephanie's speaker spotlight event, where
Mm-hmm.
I actually put myself back to 11, 12, 13-year-old Felicia being left on the
Yeah.
side of the road by my dad. And so, I didn't realize it until later, until I went through a healing journey, is a lot of my decisions in my 20s were really just for validation from others and trying to prove that I was enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know people can relate to that. I know I can relate to that. And I think that's why I love talking about it so much, is
Hmm.
because in today's world, we have such a large, vast, endless really comparison
Yeah.
with social media.
Hmm.
And I think it's cool when you can sit down with someone that you looked at and made this assumption that she
Hmm.
doesn't have a worry in the world.
Yeah.
Everything is cool, that those feelings that you're having, the person that you're thinking
Hmm.
doesn't have the worry in the world, has
Hmm.
them too.
Oh, absolutely. That's why it's like you gotta stop comparing your life to what you see online because
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what they are going through. You
Yeah.
don't know the journey that they have walked or are currently walking. And so that's why for me, social media has even changed over the years into one that I just look at as fun, as in my expression, my natural creativity. I love being creative. And I've really changed even the way that I look at social media because I actually have had to stop following a lot of people back in the day,
Yeah.
especially around fitness when I was healing my body dysmorphia. And I would see these women who were still competitors who just kept posting about their food or their bodies. Now, nothing against them. That's so great that
Sure.
they want to share that. I had triggers and
Right.
it would only like start to this catalyst into who I was and what I was feeling. And so I had to stop a lot of those people that I was following for a little while. So I always, try to especially mentor women who use social media as a source of income. Like, don't compare yourself to someone
Mhm.
else's chapter 20, right? You are, everyone has our own divine timing. We're all authentic in our own way. And the only way you can do that is just to stay in your lane and continue to show up your way.
Yeah. And such a good reminder because easier said than done. So
Hmm.
you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, Felicia, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That inner voice is going to continue to creep in. So
Yeah.
that's where you have to build the muscle
Hmm.
of what's your contentment filter? What
Hmm.
makes sense for you? And then to stay in the lane, like you said. Now, coming back to social media,
Hmm.
because I feel like you were a very early adopter to this.
Yeah.
You were on the cover of magazines,
Hmm.
you were creating courses and coaching programs. Before
Hmm.
that was like the Russell Brunson ClickFunnels boom.
Yeah.
And so I feel like you're also a visionary.
Oh,
You
thank you.
see things and a need and a problem and you solve for it before
Hmm.
others see it and start solving too.
Hmm.
So the fact that you've been in social media for so long, what are some tips that you can give somebody to make it fun and to
Yeah.
make it authentic and not
Ooh.
this dread?
Yeah. Oh, I love this question because I feel like I talk about this so much, especially too when I teach a lot of gym owners and a
Mhm.
lot of, especially people in fitness to really use social media as an extension of their most natural self. Right. I think, first and foremost, but can I share a quick story? Because
Yes, always.
this just popped in my brain. It's making me laugh right now. So I got a chance to be a keynote speaker at, Fit Body World Conference, which was huge. Like Aaron King was the keynote
Yes.
speaker, and Don Saladino was speaking, and Bedros Koulian, and I was like, oh my gosh, these people are so incredible. And I got a chance to talk about social media with a room full, like hundreds and hundreds of gym owners, franchise owners, managers, coaches, incredible people like Aaron King and Don Saladino. And I shared this story, and it's so funny because, you mentioned I've been creating content for so long. Like
Yeah.
I did the math because I used it as part of my presentation. I've been creating content for over 18 years. Even like if we were to think about MySpace and Facebook
Yeah.
days, I've had over 7,000 pieces of content created. And I've never really had a piece go viral. I don't really actually post for virality.
Sure.
I don't think about that. Like, oh, I hope this goes viral. But out of all of those years, Danielle, the one post that hits virality, 22 million likes, I think it was 93,000 shares, over 20,000 comments. It was the one video I actually posted this time last year. Actually, it was Christmas Eve of almost a year ago. And it was Keith at my family's house, my nana's house, actually. I come from a Mexican household. And I wasn't even in the video. It was just my hand, just kind of getting a whole like view of my nana's house.
Yeah.
So I think of this little like Mexican lady in the kitchen. She's on her walker and she's making tortillas, literally touching the burner. Like she has no fingerprints anymore from like 50 years of doing this. And like all my uncles, and all of a sudden you kind of span outside. And if you've ever been into a Mexican household, like we're all just like hanging out outside and eating burritos and tamales and menudo and like all this stuff. All of a sudden, like you see my uncles who are all these big Mexican guys. And then you see Keith, Caucasian, fully white, with a Modelo beer. And he just like, cheers as me. And the hook is like, you always get that, Latina daughter dating a white guy or whatever, whatever it may be. And that goes viral. Like that is the one. I've done so much education posts, podcast posts, like stuff where I'm like vulnerable and just all these things. And that's the one post that gets the most viral. And Keith always jokes. He's like, well, it was because of me. And he literally created an Instagram like 2 weeks after that. He's not posted because he realized like, oh, it's not that easy. But he thinks that he is the muse of my social media because anytime he's in the video, it always does a little bit better. But so that's the thing about social media.
Yeah. So we're fully going to put that video in the show notes.
Yeah.
Or somehow in this edit.
It's hilarious.
Because everyone needs to see it. It is hilarious.
You'll need to see it. It's hilarious. But all is to say, you can't control social media. I think the first tip is don't try to beat the algorithm. Mm-hmm. Like you can't beat the algorithm. Let it go. I think, yes, like be up to date with things that are happening. Like I think Jen Gottlieb just shared this incredible, like sort of like prediction of 2026 when it comes to social media and courses and it's the less curated. It's the more raw. It's the hair done up, no makeup. Let me, just take my camera out like you're talking to a friend, real content. Sort of like what you see on TikTok right now, because I truly believe that TikTok is setting the trend. So I think first things first is don't try to beat anything. Just show up in your most authentic self as if you were talking to a friend for coffee, right? And share an opinion, share a thought. I think the Gen Zs, they really have it down because they can just pick up the phone and start talking. Us millennials, I tend to overthink it. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, wait, what should I share today? Okay, so I had, and so like, okay, let me get my things set up. Let me go in my car. Let me
get my makeup on,
lip gloss on. And it's like, well, actually, no, that's not the content that is doing the best.
You know what, though? I think it's because we are the last generation that was raised like pretty much everyone that I know that's an entrepreneur now has some corporate experience.
Yes, for
Right?
sure.
Because we were conditioned to go to school, get the job, climb the ladder.
Yeah.
And in the corporate space, even today, still, like I do some corporate work and it's stuffy.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's, we want you to fit into this box and fit this mold and present yourself this certain way that presents our company this certain way. And so I don't think it's an us problem. I think it's it's what we experience.
For sure.
That makes it happen.
100% agree with you.
And I think we should definitely lean on the Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Because there's something to be said. It's so freeing.
Yeah.
To just be you.
Yeah.
And the hardest part is learning that you're enough.
Yeah.
Just as you are.
Yeah.
But this funny thing happens. And I know that you will agree with this. The sooner you do it, the sooner you get validated that you're enough.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. I mean, you know, I thank you for saying that because I 100% agree. And I think, you know, when we take sort of a page from that playbook of the Gen Z, I think what we'll realize is we're not going to die if we share an opinion. It's going to be okay. And I always come back to anytime I talk about this, it's like you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. And honestly, I would rather your content, and it will 100% either magnetize somebody or like literally repel somebody. And that's okay. That's actually good. What we want.
It's really good.
We want that. Like we know that this is going to magnetize and repel, and that is good. And so, yeah, you know, and I always think back to, you know, when we think of social media, you're not going to win it all. Like for example, anytime I'm questioning if I should, you know, I think again, first step, don't question it because your most authentic self is not going to question it. You're like, this is me, boom, post it. But I think about a couple years back, there was this New York Post or New York article that came out, and it's a woman and her garden. And I remember seeing that post. It was a beautiful garden. This woman, she's out there, you can see her coffee cup, and she's just looking at her garden and her beautiful vegetables that she's growing. And she's just like so at peace. And she's like, I just love my garden. I've been wanting to do this for years. And it was really interesting, the comments, because it was so polarizing. Like who knew a beautiful garden could be so polarizing? And this is just a lesson that no matter what you post, it doesn't really matter. And so the garden, the polarizing viewpoints were, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. I love this. Like when I see it, I'm like, I would love to have a garden. I wish, you know, in Arizona, it was a lot easier to grow these things. Like this is so beautiful. Like I saw just this peaceful, like that's good for her. Amazing. And then the other camp, it was, must be nice. And then they started to talk about, you know, race and privilege and all of these things. And I'm like, how do you get that from this post?
Yeah.
Like, how does your brain go there? And what I realized is we are all living life with different perspectives, different journeys, different experiences that we've had through life. And that is okay. That is what makes us human.
Yeah.
And why let the thought of someone not loving your garden keep you from posting about it?
From gardening.
And you have to just, and the garden can be the metaphor for whatever it is that you want to talk about. And so if you can just lean into that a little bit and to know that it's okay to be disliked, that you actually don't want everyone to like you, because if that was the case, you're not being your most authentic self. And lean into that. Lean into that. And I challenge the listener right now to, you know, whatever day you're listening to this podcast, start today and give yourself 30 days to show up, pick up your phone, speak into the and it could be an experience that you had at Starbucks. It could be a thought that pops in. It could be a conversation you had with your kid. It could be a conversation you had with your husband or a client, or maybe like a hard struggle you're going through right now or an obstacle. Share it. And I promise you're not going to die. And do it every day for the next 30 days.
See
and
what happens.
Your content, your Instagram or TikTok will change. The conversations will change. The DMs that are happening will change. The people that are clicking your website or your offer or your link or signing up for your freebie will change. I guarantee you in the next 30 days if you do that.
Okay, we're going to call it the Felicia Challenge.
Perfect.
So we're going to hashtag Felicia Challenge, even though I know hashtags aren't a thing anymore, but we're still going to do it, okay? And a couple of things dropped in for me as you were sharing this. And I think it's so important because when you talk about not everyone's going to like you, right? We know that to be true, but yet our human instinct is we want belonging, we want to be accepted, and that's all normal. But something that really rattled me with this, that has stuck with me and made it so easy when I can feel energetically like, hey, we're not a fit, because you can feel that with people.
For sure.
Right? Is that ask yourself this, do you like everybody?
Yeah.
Do you like everybody? The
Right.
answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
And so why would you expect everybody to then like you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And if you think about it, Danielle, like with social media, we're not meant to have that many eyeballs on us at
Yeah.
all times,
Yes.
watching us all of the time. So I understand the fear that
Yeah.
comes up for people because that's just not a normal thing. But the thing about social media is it's not going anywhere.
Mm-mm.
Right.
No.
So, and what happens, when we think about Amazon and it opened up and it started as a bookstore and it's evolved into this conglomerate amongst the world of just these goods that you can get, at any time. And it's just changed so much. We have to evolve with the times.
Yeah.
And social media isn't going anywhere. And so why not embrace it and just change that perspective towards it? Because it truly can change your life. I'm in the camp that social media can be an incredible blessing to your life, to your business, to everything.
Yeah.
I've seen lives change from posts, from people that I follow or people that are friends of mine, that social media changed literally their life to where they're
Mm-hmm.
buying their dream homes. Their business is so successful. They've helped so many people. They've been able to serve. Like it can be that if you choose to look at it that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to decide how you want to use it. And I
Yeah.
think something else that's really fascinating about it is that for whatever reason online, we'll call it 100 likes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 100 likes were like, oh, it didn't do that good. 800 views. This post sucked.
Mm-hmm.
What if you were speaking to a room of 800 people that got your nugget, that got your message,
Mm-hmm.
or 100 people walked up to you and said, I really liked that post?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The impact, that is the impact. That is what's happening online.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to find a way somehow in our brain to really put it into context, I think.
For sure.
Is something that really helps.
For sure. Yeah. And also I want to say to those people, because I'm also really big on delegating. And yes, like doing things that you don't want to do. I do think that when you do show up with discipline and doing things that feel really hard, your brain grows, your neuroplasticity in your brain grows. Like that's a good thing. But also if you're a business owner and you were like on that rocket ship, and I was just at a retreat, actually we were at the similar retreat with Tracy Matthews. She had the Art of Reinvention retreat. If you want to delegate social media, that can happen too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, you have the full permission slip to be able to do that in your business. If you know 100% that it's not your thing, but you know that the value of showing up, that can also be a part of it. So it doesn't always have to be you. And if you're at a place in your business where you can do that, do it.
Yeah. Okay. I love this. And so you've 7,500 pieces of content, I think you said.
Yeah.
Almost 20 years online.
Mm-hmm.
You've gone through identity shifts during those times, right? How do you, when you're upgrading, when you're expanding, when you're stepping in and becoming that bigger version of you, how do you navigate that online? Do you have any tips for people that are going through that, or they're feeling that tug of war between who they're becoming and who they were, and they have maybe a little bit of a following and they're scared to make the jump?
That's a good question. I like to test it in my stories. So, when I was pivoting from just fitness and wellness to starting to implement more mindset pieces, I actually just started to talk more about it in my Instagram stories. So, it goes away after 24 hours. It gives me a chance to kind of feel the audience. So if you're a little unsure on how to, let's say, for instance, and I'll just give a for instance, if you are, let's say, a health coach or a fitness coach, and you're like, oh, this is just not fulfilling me anymore, and I really want to get into, mentoring women online, or maybe you want to like do energy healing, or maybe you want to make sourdough bread. Who knows? Start adding little nuggets into your stories. And I also think nowadays, and this is something I actually heard from Lori Harder, is people are starting to become so much more multifaceted to where you don't actually have to be so niche down that that's the only thing you talk about. I actually am a big believer in having a variety of things that make you who you are, right? So we have the business piece where you talk about whatever it is in business that you're selling, that you're wanting to promote, that you're teaching about. And then you have the relatability piece. Now, for me, as a woman, I talk about being a stepmom. I talk about being in my 40s a lot. I talk about pickleball. I talk about, all the things that really make me who I am, that I enjoy talking about. Again, fitness is also a big part of that. And so we have to have all those different facets inside of your social media, because it just makes it more interesting and people get to learn about you on such a deeper level. I also feel like brands nowadays, the consumer is becoming really smart in what they're buying and what they're
Yeah.
consuming. So they actually want to know a little bit more about your values,
Mm-hmm.
about who you are, your core principles, what you stand for. And it doesn't always have to be, when I say that, it doesn't have to be this political rant or anything like that, but you can give subtle hints and subtle messages on what that is, whether it be integrity, whether it be things that you really believe in. I think now more than ever, people are craving that truth, that authenticity when it comes to those core values. And so it's okay to share a
Yeah.
little bit deeper. Yeah.
Well, and if you think about it, when you're showing up online, you're in a way selling yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that could mean a number of things. And sales is a transfer of belief.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're not sharing your beliefs and you're just talking about your niche,
Mm-hmm.
or you're trying to niche down into something, you're actually hiding parts of yourself.
Yeah.
And so I think it goes back to the point you made earlier about the post with Jen Gottlieb, that we're wanting more authenticity, more
Mm-hmm.
realness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because when you're niche down, it almost feels like, now for me anyway, this is how I absorb it when it's that way,
Mm-hmm.
is commission breathy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
so it's like, oh, like you're just trying to move me through a funnel.
Yeah.
Like this isn't Russell Brunson, ClickFunnels, great era.
Yeah.
But I think we're moving away. Like we're still going to use funnels in our business, right?
Yes.
If we're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But from the term of like putting yourself out there
Mm-hmm.
and showing your message and who you are as a person, show all of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Show
Well,
all of it.
if we take a look at Jen Gottlieb, if you've noticed, because I love doing market research, I love
Yeah.
like looking at what others are doing
Mhm.
as a source of inspiration. Like, oh, that's so great. And if you look at what she's doing, she's sharing her past, her journey, where she's been. If you've noticed lately, like she's sharing a lot of things that she's went through in the past to make
Mhm.
her who she is today,
Yeah.
to kind of show, hey, I've been where you are.
Yep.
This is where my struggle has been, and this is where I am now, especially with a lot of what she's promoting now. And the way that you're going to see that in my content, because this is something that I've been really deeply thinking about in my own content. And so something that I'm committing to is showing more about my past with fitness.
Mhm.
So my magazine covers and what I was actually going through, how I've
Yeah.
shifted out of that, how I healed myself through needing the outside validation, and really not just saying that I love my body and I love myself, but truly loving myself. The transformation that Keith and I have had over the years with our homes and how we've manifested it. Like you're going to start seeing me intertwine my journey fairly soon, just because I've been seeing what other women are doing. So I'm like, oh, I really want to do that.
Yeah.
Why don't I talk about my past more? You know,
Well,
why am I trying to run away from it? Yeah.
But it's where we connect.
Yeah.
Because that it's moving away, I believe, from the highlight reel.
Yeah.
Because no one connects with the highlight reel. Everybody wants the highlight reel.
Mm-hmm.
We want the accolades. We want the stages. We want the awards. We want the money. We want the success.
Yeah.
Right. But what does it take to get there?
Yeah.
And that's the part that people need to see. That's where the magic and the mess begins.
For sure.
Is really understanding that messy middle. That's the part where we start questioning it all. We start to wonder if we should give up.
Yeah.
But if we stick with it, that's what creates the highlight reel.
Absolutely.
So I love that. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited to watch and to
I'm
learn
excited.
more. And
yeah.
And I encourage anyone listening to this to take a page out of your book and be you and show up authentically you online.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Okay.
So good.
So you talk a lot about like strength, like using your strength as your strategy. Where do you discover your strength? Like where can somebody who's like feeling a little bit lost in where they're going, they know that they have something on their heart and a desire that feels like that fuel burning inside them. Where can you encourage them to find their strength to keep going?
That's such a good question. And anytime that I've personally have gone through this, it truly is those rock bottom moments. But I'm also a believer now, we don't have to suffer to change. You know, I don't think we have to be at the lowest of low to finally pick ourselves up, because I actually, you know, on the other side of that, I actually would blow up my life every 6 to 7 years only to have the phoenix rising from the ashes in order to get something done. And I realized I no longer want to live that way. I actually almost did it in the current relationship that I'm in. And I think the first step is just being aware of where you're at. And the thing is, Danielle, like I see so many people, and I mainly work with women, and I'm so going to use the term woman. I work with so many women who fight harder for their excuses than their desires. And a lot of us get stuck in there. And I'm not an expert in neuroplasticity or brain. That's Joe Dispenza's department. But I am a believer that our brain wants to keep us safe and wants
Yeah.
to keep us like in the known, right? And so if you can lean into doing something that is a little scary, that might be social media for you. Last year, decided to learn how to play the piano, and I hired a coach or a teacher, would go twice a week. And every time I went, I wanted to quit because I couldn't quite get the notes. A year later, I could play Silent Night at Christmas, you know? So you almost have to like love that discipline, that
Mm-hmm.
thing that's a little bit hard in order to make the change. So to find the strength, it really has to come from you. You're not going to get it from your mentor. You're not going to get it from your partner. You're going to get it from you, and really aligning with that why
Yeah.
and where you want to be. It's not going to be the how, it's not going to be the when. It's really going to be that why that's going to help allow you to propel forward. Yeah, that's what I would say.
So what I hear when you say that, I narrow it down to one word.
Mm-hmm.
You find your strength in deciding.
Yeah. Oh
You
my
find your
gosh.
strength
Yeah.
in deciding that it's for you and deciding that you're willing to show up and not give up on yourself.
Yeah.
And that the more you decide
Yeah.
and you take the action, the more proof you get that it's possible.
Yeah. Because if I'm being honest, indecision is actually a decision.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate to tell you, like, I just don't know. Actually, you do know, but you're deciding not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So decide
Yeah.
today.
Yes.
What do you want to do? You're listening. Do one thing today that
Mhm.
can move you closer to the version that you want to become.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love. Okay. There's so many places I want to capture so much.
Yeah.
I want to talk about podcasting
Ooh, yeah.
because you've had your podcast for almost a decade.
8 years
Yeah?
in February.
Okay.
Mhm.
Close to a decade.
Yeah.
Close to a decade. And your voice has changed a ton in 20
Yes.
years since
Mhm.
I've known you.
Yeah.
And I want you to talk a little bit about that journey and the lessons that you've learned in interviewing really cool people,
Yeah.
in getting comfortable sharing your voice.
Mhm.
Give us some goods.
Podcasting is my absolute favorite. That's why when I was driving here, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to talk, because I so much would rather talk than write an email or a newsletter.
Yes.
It's just not my thing, but I love talking. Like, you will get my voice notes. I'm not even like texting. And Keith and I, we pick up the phone, we call each other. Our texting is not great. And so with podcasting, it has been such an incredible platform to connect with so many people. It's literally changed my business, hands down. Like, and again, back to the 100 people watching or 100 people listening, the first 2 years of my podcast, maybe not 2 years, almost 2 years, it was like 100 to 500 downloads a month. Like, not very much. And I remember even like the first 6 months, I'm like, oh my gosh, only 100 downloads. I would tell myself that, like, no one, how is this going to grow? Like, no one's going to listen. When you think about it, 100 people in a room listening to you on their walk or at their workout or in their car, like, that's a lot of people. And so I had to I continued because I actually love the platform and I love speaking, and I love speaking with really interesting people. And so the last 8 years, it has pivoted and changed. It used to be called the Diet Dropout before I rebranded in 2022 to the Hi Felicia. And it has been one of the most incredible platforms to not only connect and build community, but change the outcome of my business. I have sold retreats on podcasts, my courses, clients, like, I've actually gotten speaking engagements from being on someone's podcast. Like, it creates so many opportunities. And also the thing with podcasting, because I will say, a lot of people I know that I chat with, oh, I don't know if I want to start a podcast. I feel like everyone's starting a podcast. So if you think about Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, hundreds and hundreds of millions of active users on YouTube. Actually, I think it's even getting closer to the billion. Like, there's so many people. So yes, it's a little bit more saturated over there. Podcasting, we're still in the hundreds of thousands. And also 75% of podcasts don't make it past episode 7. So there is a huge opportunity for podcasting. I also, it's great because it's a content engine for you. So if you already struggle with making content and you want to just kill 2 birds with 1 stone, podcasting, video podcasting, you can literally, even this conversation right here, 10 small sound bites, maybe more, of this conversation right now.
Endless B-roll.
Endless B-roll. Like, it is so valuable. It's so valuable. And that's where people really get to know you. You're having 30, 45-minute, 1-hour conversations with people, hours on end, like year after year. People are going to get to know who you really are, right? And so it's such a great community builder.
So I love the context because I don't think that we do it enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're 8 years in. How many downloads a month are you getting now?
Right now, last I checked, I'm at 28,000 to 30,000 a month.
Okay. Think about that in a stadium size.
Yeah.
And having an opportunity to get on a stage and share a message and impact 28,000 people. Okay. But now let's go back to year 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Where I know a lot of women, even today, would be stoked to be able to get a couple hundred people in a room to share their message with.
Yeah.
And that's the opportunity that you're creating for yourself when you're starting a podcast. And like anything else, because all good things start small, if you would have given up, you would have never reached the stadium size podcast.
I didn't even reach the stadium size until it was literally just a few years ago. All of a sudden, like things started to shift.
Click.
Yeah. It was interesting. And I think it was actually when I started being guests on podcasts. Because the first 5 years, I wasn't really a guest on podcasts. I was just doing my own thing.
Sure.
I don't even know why I didn't even think about being guests on a podcast, but and I also got better at speaking. I got better at talking. I don't even want to go back to listen to that first year
but actually yes,
I
do.
I did actually. I did. You know why? I remember listening back and I was so mad at myself because I was interrupting. Like, okay, so I remember one of my first initial guests was Kelly LeVeque. I don't know if you know who she is. She's Jessica Alba's nutritionist. She was like my 4th guest ever. And I had met her at an event and I just like was bold. I was like, would you want to be on my podcast? It was like, I barely had anyone on. She's like, yes. And I think it's because we knew mutual people and we were there. And I was so nervous. And when I go back and listen to that podcast episode, I'm like, oh my gosh, I interrupted her so many times. I'm just like, Felicia, shut up. Like, let them speak. But I'm glad I did because I learned how to like sit back and just listen to the guest and not interject with everything because I felt like I had to like be in it. And, you know, if it's on Zoom too, you know, so, you know, I do a lot of interviews on Zoom. So yeah, it gave me good feedback, but I think you just get better at talking. You get better at interviews. The guests get better as you have been doing it longer because people see the consistency. So then you're pitched people. So I don't ever have to search for guests anymore. I'm pitched a lot. And yeah, it's so good. I love it so much.
It is a very powerful engine. And there's a lot of power in going back and watching Beginner You.
Yeah.
Because it's your proof that you kept going.
Yeah.
And so when you're feeling down or you're feeling like that next big struggle, I like to go back and listen to an old sales call from 12 years ago.
Yes. Right.
I like to, and it is your training ground and it's like any other muscle in building it. And you get the opportunity to meet so many cool people and practice the art of the ask.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because an ask can change the trajectory of your entire life if you have the courage. And you find the courage by showing up and doing the reps.
Yeah.
And taking a big, bold ask in the beginning and screwing it up.
Yeah.
And then learning all the things, which actually collapses your timeline because you become a better host.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my gosh, like even some of the opportunities that I get now when it comes to like financial opportunities, don't necessarily come from social media. It actually comes from the network that I'm a part of and the people that I get to connect with. And so it's kind of like a snowball effect. So like right now, some of my big lucrative like offers and things that I actually make money at is consulting with big franchises. So, you know, FitBody, I met them at a speaker conference and I was speaking all about social media and PR and showing up. And they were like so impressed. They were like, oh my gosh, we want you to come speak at a mastermind with our franchise, you know, partners. And they have hundreds and hundreds of partners. I was like, cool. So they flew me out to California, did that. And then they're like, you know what? We want to hire you for a year to basically just create all the social media assets and teach our managers and our franchise partners how to do this. I was like, yeah, I can totally do that. And so I turned that into another opportunity. So I'm part of a current franchise called Ohm Fitness. And I saw that they were struggling with social media. And I'm like, gosh, I have this bank of amazing work and things like teachings that I know all of these managers and franchise partners could connect with. Now, instead of doing it, not that you can't do things for free, but there's so many years of work put into this.
That's your intellectual
and
property.
So I pitched myself to the franchise creator of Ohm Fitness, who actually is the mastermind behind Massage Envy. So if you see all the Massage Envies in the franchise, he was the person that did all that. And so I pitched myself, and he hired me for the year to do and create social media assets. And so now I'm teaching, again, the up and coming brand of Om Fitness and all of their managers and franchise partners on how to excel on social media. And it's really a lot of the things we're talking about here.
Yeah.
It's, whether you're a brand or you yourself are your own brand, it's really coming down to just showing up and being consistent. Because what happens when we show up? Okay, like think about social media right now and think about how many times you've gone to someone's social media page. I'll just give a for instance, because a lot of brands now and a lot of different types of trades use social media. Like when we
Yeah.
think of dentistry, plastic surgeons,
Yeah.
doctors, think of anything, right? You're going on social media to see if they have a social media presence.
Yes, 100%.
Let's, whether you're a coach or you help people, or even like, again, back to Om Fitness, like think of someone going to your Om Fitness page in your hometown and you haven't posted in 6 months. They're going to wonder if you're even open still, So it does change the trajectory of the energy when people come to your page and see what you're doing. And so it's such an important piece of business, and why not use it? It's the lowest hanging fruit. It's free to use, and you don't have, it's not, it's all organic. Organic, you're going to build a little bit deeper trust with organic marketing. And what happens when we do show up consistently, we are actually building subconscious trust with the person that is watching us. So they are subconsciously trusting that you are going to continue to show up for them, that you're not shutting down, that you are passionate about what you do, that you're good about what you do, because you are showing up for yourself. So you're going to show up for them too.
Yeah. And such a powerful reminder to think bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you were saying there about, you took something that you were good at, that you have a ton of IP in, that you've got a lot of knowledge and lived experience, and you turned it into additional streams of income.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of people who have a tremendous amount of value and they're so close to it, it's so natural to them. And so one of the things that I love about you is you're like me in this. You see that in them and you share it in real time, and it literally unlocks a whole new stream. So in hearing her say that, start to think about in your own business, where are you playing small? Where are you not thinking bigger? And where are you leaving money on the table?
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about, because this all stemmed from the podcast, essentially.
Yeah.
Everything spun up from there in the expansion of your business and these opportunities that you just shared with us. So if somebody is looking to start a podcast, will you help them?
Absolutely. I'd love to help them. I'm actually helping another gal right now. I launched the podcast portal. I've been actually hosting it for 2 years. It used to be a group program. I love group programs, but I actually really do love one-on-one. And it's a 30-day program. And the reason I love the podcast portal is because it simplifies starting a podcast. I think one of the things that held me back from starting in 2019, and I actually did hire a coach, but I could have started even sooner, but what held me back was the tech piece and figuring that all out. And I just, again, back to excuses. And I simplify it all because a lot of women that come to me may not have the funds yet to delegate editing and delegate all the things that they want to do in their podcast. And I literally teach them how to not only create and launch their podcast in 30 days, but do it in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming, that doesn't feel scary. Because I've sort of streamlined the process, and I've streamlined a type of editing that is so easy, where you can literally just drag and drop and create this like fully polished episode, and doesn't take much time. And now that we have AI at our fingertips, we can use AI to create show notes, to create podcast titles, to create podcast titles that will help your SEO. Like, why not utilize AI and save money in the process? But yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I think that that's a big barrier to entry for people. I think one, they think they assume it's oversaturated, which we covered earlier. It's definitely not. If you have something to share and value to give, step up. And if you feel held back by the technical piece, then reach out to Felicia. So on that note, tell us where the listeners can connect with you. Where's the best place for them to go?
I hang out on Instagram, although I've been having a lot of fun on TikTok recently. I've been growing that account, but Instagram is where you're probably going to be able to direct message me. I also have a lot of free goodies in my bio. I try to do monthly events, whether it be live podcasting or things at Om Fitness. So you can check out just my bio and whatever's happening that month. But I hang out over there, so you can send me a message.
Okay, and we'll put that in the show notes too. And if you're local in Arizona, you have got to check out Ohm Fitness. I have been fortunate enough to go several times. I am a member. I have a home membership,
Yay.
and it is the coolest. It's EMS workouts,
I just did it this
electromagnetic
morning.
stimulation.
I'm feeling it.
It's 25-minute workout, but it's
Yeah.
equivalent to 90, and you will get your buns high and tight.
Yes,
So-
I'm feeling it. Like I've seen a change in my body. I actually did the Pilates class this morning and I was dying. And I only do it twice a week.
Yeah.
And my body feels it. Like so it's 25 minutes, deep muscle contraction. It's more time under tension. So I want you to imagine yourself at a gym doing a shoulder press.
Yeah.
Typically that last 3 to 5 reps is like, oh, you're pushing a little harder. With EMS, it's instant. It's on the very first one. It feels like you're pushing 20 pounds. So you're going to get to build muscle, burn fat, literally transform your body, and it's fun. So.
Yeah, and I can attest to it because I've done it and it is great. And if you have been following along with Felicia and you're like, oh my gosh, she's so cool, and you want to meet her, you can find her there.
Yeah.
So put yourself out there, go make a friend.
Yes.
And
I love friends.
What I want to do to kind of wrap things up, because I'm a big believer in celebrating all of our wins, big and small. And I got the opportunity to talk about a big win you had before we started this, but I want you to choose what it is. So you are a magic maker.
Yes.
And thank you for pouring into this community, and
Thank
we want to
you.
help celebrate you.
Thank
so what is
you.
something that we can celebrate together today?
Well, I'm celebrating an elopement to my high school sweetheart. And actually there's three things. So
I love the number 3. Give them all.
3. Okay. So we got eloped. We were high school sweethearts. There's the long story there, but the elopement was incredible. And it was just the two of us. Around that time, we sold a piece of land that we've been trying to sell. And we're using it as a 1031 exchange for a new piece of property. And we just closed on it this week. And so it's our second home. It'll be our family home. It's a cabin up north where it snows and we can spend Christmas. And we're just so excited. And a lot of upcoming girls trips for sure.
Yes.
So
we're already planning the retreat.
we're already planning a
can't
retreat
wait.
for us girls. Yeah.
So much good stuff. And the fact that it was 3 like back to back to back is magic.
Yes.
So amazing. Okay. Well, Felicia, thank you so
you.
much for being here. For those of you listening, if something connected or landed with you today on this episode, go ahead and share it with a friend, hit subscribe, and come hang out with me. And just remember that you're a magic maker too. We'll see you next Tuesday.